Writers, if you are watching this video, then there's a high chance you're currently in a writing slump. So here is what we are going to do to get you out of it. Hello, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Eden. I am a book editor by day and a writer by night. I own Eden Editorial, where I've worked with hundreds of indie authors to unlock the potential in their manuscript. But this YouTube channel isn't going to be focused on me as an editor. I've actually created this YouTube channel to give you advice as a writer, to share my journey with you as I write my debut novel, which is the first book in a fantasy trilogy. I'm about 5,000 words away from completing it. And so I really wanted to start creating weekly content for you so you can understand a little bit more about my journey, my story, and I can offer you writing tips to help you where you're currently at. One of the biggest things I struggled with as a writer was procrastinating, hopping between different story ideas. I never fully committed myself to one project at the beginning. So the debut that I'm currently writing was an idea that I've had for about 2.5 years, but it was only until the last 12 months or so where I finally started to take action on my manuscript, to fully devote myself to my manuscript, and that is why the progress I've made has been substantial this year, and now I'm only about 5,000 words away from finishing. And so if you're somebody who struggles to decide a story idea, or perhaps you've started writing your story and you're maybe midway through, your motivation is lacking, you're not really sure where you're going to take it, then please watch this video because we are going to talk through the different steps to get you out of that writing slump. Number one is you're going to replace motivation for devotion. In every aspect of our lives, we're often waiting for motivation to hit. We're waiting for motivation to go to the gym. We're waiting for motivation to reply to a friend's text message. We're waiting for motivation to, revise for our exams. Whatever it is, we're often waiting for motivation to strike. But motivation is unreliable. It's fleeting. It's inconsistent. And when we're waiting for motivation, our writing is going to be inconsistent as well. And this is going to hinder our progress. Instead of waiting for motivation, what you need to do is devote yourself to your manuscript. Make a pledge right now that you're not going to wait for motivation to strike. Instead, you are devoted to completing your manuscript and you're going to do whatever you can to get there. In an ideal world, we would feel motivated all the time, but unfortunately, we do not. So if we're going to get anywhere with our story, we have to make that pledge to ourselves that we're committed to finishing it no matter what it takes. If you commit yourself to your manuscript, if you devote yourself to it and you stop waiting for that motivation to kick in, it's going to give you momentum. And so if you need a little bit of help with feeling devoted to your manuscript, then I want you to consider these questions. Why are you writing your story? Why do you want to finish your book? And when you finally do complete it, what is going to be awaiting you at the end of this journey? Because once you can consider your why, once you know exactly why you're writing this book, why you're devoting yourself to this book, that is going to really help to shift your mindset and your outlook to begin creating these new habits that are going to get you to where you need to be with your story. Which brings us to number two. You are going to create new habits. We have decided to pledge ourselves to our manuscripts. We are devoting ourselves to our stories. Now what you need to do is create new habits that are going to help you to achieve your writing goals. It's going to get you out of a writing slump. When the motivation is gone, you can rely on your habits to get you to where you need to be. If any of you have read Atomic Habits by James Clear, there is a great quote that says, "Success is the product of daily habits, not once in a lifetime transformations." So if we are going to achieve success with our writing, if we are going to finish our first draft, then what we need to do is we need to make habits that we can rely on every single day to get us to where we need to be. It doesn't need to be a big habit where you're devoting 2 hours of your time every single day to writing your book. Whilst that might sound perfect in an ideal world, it's probably not very realistic to you, your schedule, or your circumstances. Why don't we start small? One of the things that I started doing when I was writing my first draft was I did pledge to write every single day. But that doesn't mean I was writing 500 thousands of words every single day. If I was exhausted, Because I had made that commitment to myself to finish writing my book, to continue my story, I would then pick up my laptop at 9, half 9 at night when I was exhausted, and I would just write 50, 100 words. Whilst that might seem pointless to you, that is still taking me closer to my goal, even if it's just a nudge in the right direction as opposed to a full on shove. It's really important to look at your current habits as well. So let's have a little audit for a moment. What habits are getting you closer to your goal of completing your book, and what habits aren't? So, for example, the habits that are not getting me closer to my book is scrolling through Instagram at 10 o'clock at night for about an hour and a half until I go to sleep. Another habit that isn't helping me very much is watching Vampire Diaries now that it's autumn again. That is not helping me get to my writing goal. And even though I'm sitting there with my laptop out and watching Vampire Diaries, I'm often too distracted by Damon and Elena to actually focus on my manuscript and get what I need to get Once done. you've got a list of the habits that are currently holding you back from your goals, let's look at a few habits that you can perhaps add to your routine to help you achieve that goal of getting out of your writing slump. One habit might be devoting 20 minutes every single day to writing your manuscript. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to write again 500 words, 1,000 words in 20 minutes, but 20 minutes every day is slow and steady progress that will add up eventually. So in a year's time, you might be nearly there. You might decide to actually devote Saturday morning or Sunday morning to writing your manuscript, and this becomes a habit where every Sunday morning you are going to be writing your manuscript from 9 till 11. So, number one, we are replacing motivation for devotion. We're pledging ourselves to our manuscript. Number two is we are creating new habits. We're introducing writing sprints. We're introducing time out of our day every single day where we are devoting ourselves to our story and we're writing our book. Number three is you need to make time. Now, I was somebody who always used to say, I don't have enough time to finish writing my book. I don't have enough time to write it. Maybe next year when things are less busy, I'll write my book. The thing is, we're always busy. We're always going to be busy unless another lockdown happens, which I obviously don't hope for. Then we are probably going to be busy and we're no longer going to be stuck inside our homes, able to write whenever we want. The truth is, saying you don't have enough time is just an excuse, and I can say that from somebody who used to say it all the time. The hard truth is, you're just not making time. And this is where it comes back to habits. What can we be taking out of our current habits? What can we be eliminating, like the doom scrolling, the Netflix watching? What can we remove from those habits? What habits can we instead replace? Because then that time that we have used for watching Netflix, that time we have used for doom scrolling, we can instead use to write. So let's make time for our writing. I want you to go on Google Calendar and I want you to have a look at your current schedule. So let's say you work a 9 till 5, Monday to Friday. Do you have time to write from 7 till 8 o'clock in the morning, or even 7 till half 7, or half 7 till 8 before you go to work? In the evening, do you have time from, let's say, half 5 till 6 before dinner to write your manuscript? Look at your schedule. Where can you find time to write your book? Now, you might be really busy in the week, and so actually you think you might prefer to do the weekend. And so in that case, when can you write during the weekend? What time can you devote? And there's that word again, devote. What time can you devote to writing at the weekend? You need to slot this in to your Google Calendar and commit to doing this. Don't just have it there as a, yeah, I might write that time, I might do it. No, we are devoted to finishing our manuscript. So whatever time we allocate into our calendar is the time we are going to commit to writing our story. Number four, and this is incredibly important when it comes to getting out of a writing slump, we need to put the fun back into writing. This is something I love to talk about because what I think has happened over the years is writing just almost begins to feel like a chore. Once you commit to writing a book and you're tired and you're exhausted and like oh, I'm going to just write for an hour even though I'm really tired, but I need to make some progress with it. It starts to feel more like a chore. It feels a bit more draining than it perhaps should. But the reason we are writing in the first place is because we love to write. There is something in us that loves writing. So I don't know about you, but I used to write stories all the time when I was a child. I would go on family holidays, and when my mum and dad would be in the pool, I would be the one to sit by the pool with a notepad, and I would just be writing these stories by hand. And I absolutely loved writing. And then there was no pressure. It was all fun. I didn't think that the book I was writing in my notebook would ever go anywhere. And so I think without that pressure, I could enjoy writing and it was a hobby that I loved. Whereas when we put the pressure on ourselves to finish writing a book, it begins to feel like work. It begins to feel like a chore, and this fun can sometimes be sucked out of it. We are never going to find enjoyment in our writing if we are forcing it, which is sometimes why we might need to put ourselves in a flow state to make the writing fun again. How can you get yourself into a flow state? How can you make writing fun again? I have a few suggestions for you. Number one is you can join a writing community. You can join a lovely community of writers that perhaps do online writing sessions. I definitely advise you to look for local writing sessions. It's even better if you can meet these people in person. You might want to take yourself out on a writing date as well. And this is my favorite suggestion, and it's something I highly suggest you do. What you're going to do is you're going to go to a local cafe, a local bakery, a local restaurant, perhaps your favorite park. And what you're going to do is you're going to buy yourself a cake, you're going to buy yourself a coffee, a favorite treat, something that you really, really enjoy. You're going to treat yourself, okay? And you're going to take yourself out on a writing date. Just you and your manuscript, you are going to date it. And by date, I mean you're going to write it. And with that shift in environment, which we are going to talk about next, with that shift in environment, with the cake, the treats, the lack of pressure, being taken away from everyday distractions like having to do your laundry or having to, wash the dishes. You are someplace else entirely with minimal distractions. And all you need to do whilst you're at this cafe, is write your book. Okay. And if you use it as a form of self-love, as self-care, and you actually find enjoyment in taking yourself out on this date, then you're approaching the story as you're writing it from a completely different headspace. You're not approaching it from this state of force of, I need to write my book. Instead, you're approaching it from a flow state. You get to write your book. You have time to write your book. You're currently in a cafe with nothing else to do except eating your croissant. So you can just write your book, okay? It's fun. That's what we need, is we need fun. Another great suggestion is to go to a writing retreat. Now, little shameless plug here. I do writing retreats. I do 2 every year. My current ones are sold out, but I will be announcing ones for next year soon. If you were interested in attending one of my future writing retreats, then by all means join the waitlist below. If not, no problem. But go and have a look at some writing retreats near you. This can either be a weekend retreat, it might be a week-long retreat, but these environments are the perfect environments to really, again, devote yourself to your story, to remove all of the distractions that you might have at home, and just, again, have all of that time to write your story. The change in environment is so, so, so crucial when it comes to getting out of a writing slump and getting into a headspace where you feel free, you feel creative, you feel inspired, you feel empowered, and writing feels fun again. Number 5, and this is really, really important, but if you are in a writing slump, then one of your issues might be that you're a bit of a perfectionist. You might be someone that decides to edit as you go along. And so you've perhaps done about 50,000 words and you've actually edited every single one of those words. So the first half of your story feels amazing, but there is no second half because you haven't yet finished it. What I would advise you do, and it's what I advise everybody to do, is to not edit your first draft until it's done. Your only aim when it comes to writing your first draft is to finish it, okay? Do not worry about editing. A first draft does not need to be perfect, and you need to accept that your first draft won't be perfect. And what you need to accept instead is that your first draft might be terrible. I can sit here and confidently tell you now that my first draft needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of work. There is many different plot threads in there that I need to go over and resolve. There are many different characters I need to cut. There are some characters I need to add. I know what I need to do with my story, but to do that, to actually implement those changes, I need to finish my book first and foremost. So I will be finishing my book first. I will be allowing whatever I've written so far to be terrible, and I will resolve that in the self-editing process. If you're somebody who keeps saying, oh, I'm not finished my manuscript, I'm just rereading it again at the minute before I start adding to it, stop. Stop with the rereads, stop with the edits. What you need to do is just finish writing your book. Accept that it might be terrible, and that's okay. Nobody needs to read it. Nobody is going to be reading mine. So what you need to do is instead just focus on finishing it, and all of the edits, all of the changes, that comes later. Last but not least, when it comes to getting out of your writing slump, is to envision the end goal. For me, just to be truthful, just to be honest with you, the end goal for me is to publish my story and sell thousands and thousands of copies every year, to do this full time, to be an author full time. And many of you might be thinking, oh, like crazy, she's living in fantasy land. But that is my dream. That is what I'm going to make a reality. But the only way I can make that a reality is if I finish my first draft. To finish that first draft, not only am I devoting myself to my story, creating new habits, I'm making time for my writing, I'm putting the fun back into writing again, I'm allowing my first draft to be awful, and all of these things are taking place. I'm doing all of these things at once to get to where I want to be with my end goal of being a published author with thousands of books, perhaps a bestseller to my name. And yeah, that is why I'm doing it. That is why I assume you're doing it as well. So if you're in a writing slump, do all of these steps and let me know how you get on. Let me know if you have any other suggestions too as to how you've perhaps been in a writing slump before and how you've come out of it. Any advice, any suggestions would be well appreciated by anyone who checks the comments. And if all else fails, if you commit to every single step that I have given you to get out of your writing slump, then I want you to instead ask yourself this: are you truly committed to this goal? Are you truly committed to this story? Because perhaps it's not actually you, perhaps it's the story doesn't align with you. Perhaps you instead have another idea which you feel like would be better for you and your goals. But if something doesn't feel right with this story, if you've tried everything and you just can't get to where you need to be, then perhaps you just need to rest, take some time away from your manuscript, figure out what you want to do next, and then go from there. These steps should definitely help you. I am 5,000 words away from finishing my first draft. I have committed to every single one of these steps, and it is what helped me to stop procrastinating and finally just achieve my goals. So I really hope you found this helpful. This is one of many videos, so welcome to the channel. Please subscribe if you want to be updated on my writing journey, if you want to know more about writing advice, writing tips, perhaps some editing tricks. I may do a few vlogs. I do have a writing retreat vlog coming up in the next few months as well from one of my writing retreats. So just subscribe, join in, comment below, and I'm really excited to see you in the next video. Bye.